It's Arlen, and I'm your Atlanta Realtor, and I'm happy to share with you what the updates are for the Atlanta market and somewhat for the United States, actually. So the first thing I want to say is that the Federal Reserve has reduced the interest rate for the first time in 24 months or 2 years. So that is a really fantastic thing. When the interest rate drops, it signifies that the recession or the almost recession that we were in is over. So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. But what it also translates to is if you are involved in credit card transactions or if you have a HELOC on your home, you're going to experience a little more comfort in the amount, or I should say more of your payment is actually going to be applied to the principal. So that's good news. It doesn't at 0.5% really make the interest rate come down in terms of home purchase mortgages. Not too much. You won't really feel a big dent in that until later on in this year when it's projected to come down like 1.5%. So looks like around the end of the year we're going to see interest rates being about 1.5%. So if you are thinking about buying a house, my suggestion to you would be to go ahead and get on in it. If you are thinking about selling a house and rebuying because your family has grown or maybe it's smaller and you need to downsize, this is absolutely a good time because, again, the interest rates are going to be lower toward the end of the year than the drop that we just experienced. So toward the end of the year, around 4%. Should be around 4% as well at the start of the new year. But if you can do it now, this would be a great time because what normally comes when the interest rates go down, the prices come up. So the translation or the loss that you would experience in waiting from this point would be the purchase price of the house being higher. So just to make sure that that's really clear, what that means is, yes, you will have a lower interest rate for the life of the loan, but the amount that you're actually financing would be greater. So it'll be more house that you're more purchase price that you would be buying for the same amount of house that you would be getting at a slightly higher rate, but you can always refinance. So go ahead, get involved in it now. Take advantage of some of the loan programs that are available right now. There are some things that are 100% loan available. You can get a 100% loan. VA, doctors programs have 100%. There are even some financing programs that are 97% down. So 97% of the purchase price. So you should do it. You should do it now. There are even loans that are offering, depending on where you are, for the Atlanta market, we have loans that are $12,500 toward your down payment, or you can use it toward closing costs, whichever is more comfortable for you. So yeah, this is a great time. Don't wait. Home ownership is extremely important to the growth of your wealth and your family. You need a house. You need a house, so go ahead and do it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is, I hope it's not too loud in here because I'm actually in a restaurant. I wanted to get this done and not stop putting it off. But the other thing that's important to you is that there has been a change in the real estate industry where it used to be that the seller would pay the commission. We're not even allowed to say that anymore. That was usually paid, for the most part, by the seller. It's never been a requirement, but it's not actually been communicated that way in most situations. It's never been a requirement. In the state of Georgia, we have always been required to have the buyer have a contract to say who is paying or how the buyer's agent would be paid. And we would also have a contract in place before a sign hit the yard, before it got on the MLS, what the seller would be paying their agent as well. That is usually always, I say usually, but it's always the case, we can't put any kind of marketing out without the seller's permission. So the seller has already made a contract and negotiated what that number is going to be for the amount that they're going to pay their agent. Now the new changes kind of make it required that the buyer, you must be under contract with your agent before you open a single door, and that is throughout the United States. It has to be in place. That wasn't the case before in all states. It was required in Georgia, but not everybody followed that rule. Now we have to follow that rule. We absolutely have to, because it could be that your agent, if you're buying a house, might not get paid if they've not already negotiated with the buyer that situation. So what's going to happen? You must get into that negotiation or that agreement with your buyer's agent before you look at a house, and you must also have that arrangement in place with as a seller before anything takes place. That's what's new. It doesn't really change much of the information that's in it too much, but it's made clear for both parties, the buyer and the seller, how they're going to be paying their agent. Now, you want to be in conversation as a buyer with your agent, what they're going to be doing for you. Are they just opening doors? Are they helping to negotiate the prices for you? Are they trying to get the best deal for you in terms of what kind of loan you should get? Are they going to ask the seller to contribute to your closing costs? There's so many different things. What kinds of resources does your agent have for you to get your home inspected? How will they negotiate those things? These are the questions that you need to get asked if you're going to be hiring a buyer's agent. You also need to, as a seller, negotiate what are you going to do for me when you hire you to sell my house? Are you paying for the pictures? Are you going to pay for any warranties? What are you going to do? Are you just paying for marketing? Do you help me negotiate? You need to ask those kinds of questions, because there's very definitely a division between how they're going to cooperatively get the buyer and the seller to meet on the purchase of a house. Now, it's really for the agents not too terribly much of a difference on how it's going to work, but for the buyer and the seller, the contracts need to be made clear so that there's no confusion to either party. I'm Arvin Lewis. I sell real estate.